Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Time-Lapse Drawings with Chris Wharton. A lot of you have been asking me to do another how to draw video, and the most requested subject by far has been how to draw hair. Honestly, drawing hair is kind of tricky, especially considering how many different kinds of hairstyles there are out there, hair colors, and hair types. So let me see if I can break this down into repeatable steps for you, and maybe give you some things to think about while you practice. Alright, let's work some magic. Before we get started, I want you to really think about the type of hair you want to draw. And I mean really think about it. I mean, is it straight, wavy, or curly? Is it short, long, or somewhere in the middle? Does it have a lot of volume, or is it really thin? Will it be pulled back away from the person's face, maybe in a ponytail or some sort of bun or braid? How will it interact with a person's neck and face, and maybe their shoulders? These are all sort of things that you need to picture in your head before you get started. If you've never really thought about these things before, I suggest you do a quick image search and study some pictures of people with the type of hairstyles that you want to draw. There is just so much variety in the way that hair looks and grows and hangs and moves. After really studying what makes the hairstyle you're going for unique, you should have a much better idea of the structure that you're shooting for. Okay, now that I've really driven home the insane variety of all the different types of hair there are out there, let me see what I can do to simplify the actual process of drawing it. First, let me draw a head to put hair onto. If you want some help on how to draw a head, just go check out my How to Draw a Face Basics video for an in-depth breakdown. Now, even though hair is made up of thousands and thousands of individual strands, I want you to focus less on depicting each individual hair and instead try to depict the larger shapes and flowing patterns. Always remember, simple first, details last. The steps go as follows. Number 1, lightly work out the overall shape of the hair. Step 2, lightly add guidelines to indicate the direction the hair is flowing. Step 3, start reinforcing shapes, groups of hairs, and pockets of shadow, always using lines and textures that go with the direction of the hair. And Step 4, flesh out the final lines and details. This is where you can add individual strands and flyaways. Alright, now that I've given you the basics, let's draw a couple more hairstyles following along with those steps. How about we start with a more complicated version of the hairstyle I just drew? Here's a new head as a starting point. Step 1 is to lightly work out the shape of the hair so that we have a place to start. Remember to draw lightly and simply. And when creating the shape of the hair, remember that hair grows out away from the scalp, so the shape you draw should be hovering over the scalp you drew and not directly on it unless the hair is really short. Step 2 is to lightly add guidelines to show which way you want the hair flowing. These lines will help remind you which direction any detail lines or shading lines should be drawn, but you don't have to keep them in your final drawing. Step 3 is reinforce the shapes you sketched, working out any smaller groups of hairs, layers, and pockets of shadow. This step is where you try to give your hair dimension, volume, and figure out where your final lines will actually be drawn. And Step 4 is to finally add the final lines, like surface details, textures, smaller pockets of shadows, and individual hairs. Let's try another. This time I'll draw a male character with fairly short hair. Step 1, lightly plan out the shape of the hair. Step 2, lightly add guidelines to show the direction of hair flow. Step 3, reinforce hair shapes, smaller groups of hairs, and shadows. And finally, Step 4, final lines, textures, and details. Let's do one more with long hair. Step 1, lightly plan out the shape of the hair. In this case, I'm creating 3 separate sets of hair. The part that's flowing over her back, the parts in the middle that are flowing over her shoulders, and the parts on either side of her eyes that go down to her chest. Step 2, lightly add guidelines showing the direction of hair flow in each part of the hairstyle. Step 3, reinforce hair shapes and smaller groups of hairs and shadows. Here I'm really trying to use pockets of shadow to make the different parts of hair distinct from each other. For instance, the shadowy parts of the hair flowing over her back are making the layers in front of it really pop forward toward the audience.
And finally, step 4, final lines, textures, and details. Apart from shadow, another way to really make separate hair layers distinct from each other is to allow the direction of hair flow to crisscross each other. For example, the hair that's on either side of her eyes going down to her chest really crosses over the direction of the hair behind it in places, forming opposing lines and really driving home that they are separate from the other layers. Okay, that's enough examples for now. Before I end this video, let me give you one final exercise that may help you when drawing hair. Like I mentioned before, when you're drawing hair, try not to think so much about the individual strands of hair, but the larger shapes and patterns the hair is forming. When I draw hair, I actually tend to picture a collection of ribbons instead of individual hairs. Having said that, I suggest you take some time to practice drawing pieces of ribbon. Imagine and practice the different ways you can depict it, whether it's short or long, hanging straight, twisting slightly, moving in a wave pattern, forming loose or tight curls, or any combination of these things. Practice adding shadow to different parts of the ribbon to reinforce shape. And then take the end of the ribbon and start breaking it up into lines moving the same direction as if the ribbon were splitting off into smaller and smaller ribbons, allowing the ends to taper off into points. After doing this exercise, try applying this technique to the hair you're drawing. Alright, I hope that helped give you a better feel for how to approach drawing hair. And if you give these techniques a try, please let me know how they worked for you in the comments. If you guys like what I do here on my channel, there are a couple ways you can support me. First, you can go over to patreon.com/Chris Wharton, where you can check out the rewards I offer my patrons. And you can check out my online stores over at www.salamander.studio. And if you like this video, please share it around to your favorite social media platforms. And, as always, like and subscribe. Thanks so much, you guys. Until next time.